Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. So we have reached that, or approaching, inshallah, the 10th day of Muḥarram, known as Ashura or Yawm Ashura, which in Arabic, Ashura just means the 10th day. And as many of us know, this is a commemoration of Allah saving Moses and the children of Israel from Pharaoh and drowning his army, right? At least that's the major impetus of what gets the ball rolling on why that is a day for us to fast. And I feel like by now, many of us, because of the advent of, the internet, YouTube, all this stuff, you can go find out a lot of this information pretty easily and accessibly. That part is not hard to find out. What I want to highlight today is some lesser discussed aspects of it, particularly of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam and his leadership style, and what does that mean, for us. So just to, to go into the hadith that relates to us about, why is it that we do this? It's recorded in Muslim. It is sahih, right? It's sound, and it's narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. So it says, حين صام رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم عاشوراء وأمر بصيامه قالوا يا رسول الله إنه يوم تعظمه النصارى يعني النصارى واليهود, right? فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فإذا كان العام المقبل إن شاء الله صمنا اليوم التاسع. So the hadith reads that when the Prophet gave the command to, when the Prophet fasted this day, right, alayhi salam, this day of Ashura, right, and then commanded the people to do so. And the important here about the wa amara bi siyamihi, when he commanded people to do so, this was before the revelation of Surah Al-Baqarah, right? Surah Al-Baqarah comes after this, and then commands the people, you have to fast the entire month of Ramadan, and so that abrogates the command to have to specifically do so, and it becomes an option, right? And so the people say, Ya Rasulullah, this is a day that tu'adhimu an-nasara wal-yahud, ahl al-kitab, the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, they venerate this day. Meaning, like, is that something that we should do, right? And he says, فَقَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ فَإِذَا كَانَ الْعَامُ الْمُقْبِلُ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ صُمْنَا الْيَوْمَ التَّاسِعَ. He said, if not only are we going to fast this day, but inshallah, if we reach the next year, we are going to add the 9th day to the 10th day. So you may have heard that when it comes to the day of Ashura, that a person can fast the 9th and the 10th, and that is a thing. And so this is where we get it. That is, you don't have to, but you can add the 9th to the 10th day. Now, what I want to discuss is why would the Prophet ﷺ add a 9th day? And so, or add the 9th day to the 10th day. Why would he join them together? And so, as is related in some commentary, one of the scholars has said, he says, في هذا الحديث بيان صيام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم عاشوراء ثم مخالفة اليهود في صيامه بأن يصام يوم التاسع معه. So he relates in this hadith, it's an explanation of the fast of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, right? However, he does it ثم مخالفة. He does it to be different than. Now, you may have heard the word ikhtilaf, right? To be different from or have a difference of opinion, right? Where it is related. So khalafa means to be different from, as a kind of to be opposed or be distinct. So he says, ثُمَّ مُخَالَفَةُ الْيَهُودِ فِي صِيَامِهِمْ. So the Prophet ﷺ does do what the Jews did, but by adding the 9th day, he says, no, we have to do it in a way that is separate and distinct. He said, what? بِأَنْ يُصَامَ يَوْمَ التَّاسِعَ مَعَهُ. And this is by adding the 9th day to the 10th day. So inshallah, today is Tuesday, the 8th of Muḥarram, which means that Wednesday would be the 9th. So if you want to do the 9th with the 10th day, inshallah, then you would fast tomorrow. And then, of course, the 10th day being, inshallah, Thursday. So you can add those 2 days together. But why is it that the Prophet ﷺ, what is he doing here in this mukhalafa, in this to be different from and distinct from? We'll talk a lot about the leadership style of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, and certainly we can see that part of his his style of leadership was to always make Islam and the Muslims be distinct from those around them. Not alien, but also to be distinct. And we live in a moment of identitarian politics where every group is trying to extrapolate their identity from the social whole and present it as something unique, whether it's the LGBTQ, qawm al-huruf, whether it's this racial group or that racial group or, whatever it is. But then we find many of us as Muslims being encouraged by these groups, and then some of us even encouraging ourselves to constantly say, oh, no, we're just like you. And so we're going in the opposite direction to not be distinct. And some of this has to do with, self-esteem issues, psychological issues, and so on, that is beyond what I want to go just in this quick little video here. But that is something to look at, is that the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, when he said we're going to do something that the Jews or Christians are going to do, if we do it, it has to be done in a way that makes Islam distinct. And this is one of the things I find really reprehensible and embarrassing about Muslims who celebrate Christmas and Easter and Halloween, is that, they don't even have the creative autonomy. Forget about the permissibility. We can get into that, but let's just say, for sake of argument, right? They don't even do it in a way that is distinctly Muslim. They do it exactly the way that the Jews or the Christians do it. And this reveals an important part of being Muslim. An important part of Islam is to be unique, is to be distinct. And a lot of our da'wah, if we are being unique and distinct, right, a lot of our da'wah will be passive. I mean, of course, we have to have some part of calling people to Islam that is active, but a great part will be also passive in that we are not like everybody else. And yet we live in a moment, despite almost every other group wanting to be unique and distinct, we are arguing and advocating that we alone should not be distinct, right? And that we want to blend in. And this can, of course, have disastrous consequences for trying to engender Islam in the minds and hearts of the current and next generation. And so, just very simply, we can see in the genius and the style of leadership of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he was a person that always wanted Islam to remain unique, distinct, that the Muslim is something identifiable, and that if they were, of course, none has the authority of the Prophet to sanction a thing religiously, right? But even if we were to somehow argue that, then clearly part of that methodology is to make sure that Islam remains distinct. Now, please, nobody take this as, Imam Mark gave you creative license to go and celebrate Christmas as a Muslim as long as you do it, the Islamic way. That's not what I'm saying, but just wanting us to look at the genius of our beloved example, why he is such a great leader, right? And why Islam remains such an enigma amongst all other religions and has resisted change like more than any other religion, right? And that is part of the beautiful quality that it has as a unique revelation amongst the other revelations, and of course being the final one. So inshallah, just giving you some food for thought to think about if you want to fast both the 9th and the 10th day. Of course, now thinking part of fasting the 9th day is to embrace the uniqueness, right, of being Muslim. May Allah Ta'ala accept from us, from me and from you, inshallah, from your siyam, from your fast, inshallah. Wa jazakum Allahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.